you won't really be able to rely upon it just to lock down an opposing hero kind of casually. So the Lifestealer has quite a bit to work with there. They're not going to be able to keep him contained. And now, you mentioned the Silencer from Infamous in some of their appearances in other events. And they do go for it here with that force selection.
Yeah, and it is a scary hero. I believe both Analog, or rather both Alone and A have picked it up before. It's something that has been run in that mid position in a few different circumstances, and yeah, they go for the Angel Terrorblade, arguably his best hero. Of course, playing versus the Lifestealer is going to feel very nice once you get that Scotty, and they have really drawn their line in the sand with this Terrorblade pick. Of course, you're playing into a Silencer, you're playing versus a natural silence, so we're going to need to see a BKB coming in from this Terrorblade, but once you get those 3 or 4 key items, NoPing say, we are going to try to win the game after that point. Because if you get BKB, Scotty, Mantis style on this Terrorblade, there is nothing that Infamous can do at this stage. They need to be incredibly farmed on this Lifestealer. They need to have some kind of counter initiation, but Terrorblade is one of the best heroes, again, to deal with this split push that could be coming out with Infamous. All it takes is one mirror image to go down, or one conjure image to go over to the lane that no one wants to play in. And sure, the Helm of the Overlord can be a little bit obnoxious, but Terrorblade is one of those critical mass illusion carries, and one that Angel plays so well. I can only imagine that NoPing are going to create this huge team fight that I don't know if Infamous can take right now, because as well with the Beastmaster, you don't have a typical frontliner. You're going to rely on those creeps to help you a little bit stand up in front, and that is a big hole that I think NoPing are going to be comfortable playing in.
It just feels like now Infamous, even before we see those final picks, are going to be on a timer. Once the TB is sort of at that critical mass, as you said, they can't really stand up in those team fights, and I highly doubt the Lifestealer, around the time the TB is going to have those big 3 items, I highly doubt he is going to have on the Lifestealer what he would need to go into a Terrorblade plus 3 to 4 heroes to back him up. So if you're Infamous, you may want to look for something that can maybe push the tempo a little bit. Their lineup wasn't really built specifically for that, but maybe with a mid selection they could bail that one out. But you see the Storm, the Queen of Pain already being taken away. Those would have been 2 of those nice choices in terms of that snowbally mid laner that aren't really available, but the Lina is going to be the choice for them, and, well, I don't know. That Lina can certainly provide a lot of damage if she's in that core role, but you always worry about the durability with that hero.
Yeah, and as well as banning out what feels like a split ban a little bit here. Of course, afraid of Dark Mago ending up on that Leshrac, which would have been a really good pick for them, because again, you accelerate the game speed so quickly, where this Lifestealer has one less item just by pure virtue of you being able to pick up this Leshrac. So take it out, don't want to deal with that. But that's also where you ban out the Wind, because you're afraid of that flexibility that NoPing have kept up until this point with the Tiny. Do you want to play Tiny versus Lina in the mid lane, though? That is a difficult question to answer. And if they do end up going for it, they need to look for what I can only imagine is a better 4 position. Because as of right now, if you aren't going to play this Tiny mid versus the Lina, you're going to have to play it versus the Nakes. And Nakes is going to be okay with that. I think this Tiny would really struggle in the 4 position laning versus the Lightseer Silencer. I think that is large in part why Infamous have drafted in this specific fashion. They're trying to make this Tiny feel awkward for NoPing to slot into their draft. As good a pick as this Terrorblade has ended up being, I do think that now trying to figure out what Dark Mago is going to want to play, or what Sladen is going to want to play, is a little bit more of a difficult question. Do you want him to perhaps go for a hero like the Tusk, go for that TP break on the Lifestealer, make sure he can't go for those split pushes, or do you play another timing BKB based mid laner, so that way you have something prepared for when this global inevitably comes out? There are a lot of different ways NoPing can take this draft, but that's why you have last pick. You keep that flexibility.
Yeah, they keep the flexibility, and they're using a lot of the time. It's the final pick of the draft, so you may as well use it all if you've got it, but they really do want to make sure that they're getting the best choice here, down to 2 seconds left before they go for the Doom. That's not even close to what I was expecting them to take there, but they are going to run it, and it will be Dark Mago on the Doom as well, so the position 2 Doom laning against the Lina.
Yeah, and I am a little bit concerned for the exact same reasons I'm concerned for the tiny laning there. At least with the Doom, you get to do the mid lane thing where you ignore your matchup more or less. You pull into the small camp, you try to be as efficient as you can, and the efficiency game is fantastic on Doom if you're able to pull those creep waves in. The problem is that you still have to line your bed when it comes to this bottom lane. Lifestealer is going to have what I feel like is going to be a very free time versus the Bloodseeker Tiny. I think both of those heroes are going to struggle hard versus that hero. Maybe you can pull out a nice toss back on the Silencer. That would be more of a misplay from A than I think anything else. But you did have to do something with this Tiny. And while the Doom will definitely feel nicer net worth wise versus this Lena, I think those same struggles appear for the Doom. You're still being a melee hero versus Lena. You're going to have to play versus that Elisane lane. You're going to get denied pretty consistently. It's where is Dark Mago going to be able to spin the game state in his favor once that lane finally collapses? Because it is very hard for that Doom to hold.
Yeah, and as I said, not exactly the expected choice there with that final pick, but, well, I mean, they take it for a reason. They've got to have a plan for it, and we'll see what that plan entails, although, to be perfectly honest, the plan may also just be get someone who can not
too bright.
mess it up and get killed off long enough for the TB to take over, but we'll have to wait and see. Dark Mako is going to give it a go in that middle lane as we begin, again, our final match of the night here. NoPing hoping for the 2-0 sweep and 3 out of 4 from their matches. Today, meanwhile, for Infamous, a loss in Game 1, unfortunate for them, but still a chance to get that point up on the board and try to move themselves out of sort of the bottom section of the group stage standings. As we mentioned previously, a lot of that has to do with the fact that they haven't played too many games, but even so, you would like to make progress as early in your schedule as possible.
Yeah, and it is a lot of time. They've got to play many, many games on the Infamous side, and I think losing here would not be the biggest blow to them, maybe a blow to their egos, but it shouldn't really hold any water over them. I think more so, Noping, just start yourself off on the right foot. You lost to these guys in Movie Star, try to get another game off of them here. I definitely understand how close these teams actually are in skill level. I do
That's
think
hot.
NoPing have a disgustingly good TB game for them, and sometimes that is just enough for NoPing to win a game, as we saw in that Medusa game as well, the only game they lost so far. Angel can put the team on his back when he is absolutely necessary, and I do think that this Doom will be able to at least be the Doom, be the man farming up in the mid lane, just trying to get those items as fast as he can, but Doom versus Lifestealer doesn't even feel that nice.
No.
Unfortunately, if you don't get that Doom, it's still like it's whatever matchup. I really just hope that Alone is going to be able to hold Dark Mago to his guns here. Alone should be able to not walk all over this lane, but definitely get a pretty sizable lead, and that's where we might see Infamous play that rotation game where No Ping are definitely they're more farm oriented. We're gonna wait for our blink dagger on our 4 tiny. We're gonna wait for our blink on our mid doom, and Angel's gonna farm all the while. So it's an interesting idea from both sides.
Yeah, and as you said, for the Doom, Doom onto Lifestealer is kind of meh, but depending on the actual timing of it, Doom onto Alone on this Lena can be kind of devastating. You take away the abilities, and if you hit up the Lena before those Fiery Soul stacks really become a factor, you're not even really doing much in the way of right-click damage either. So that may be potentially the bigger play. Try to hit up someone like the Lena or the Beastmaster before they can sort of rev up, and if he can do that, if he can get something along the lines of the Blink Dagger to just jump in and apply that Doom, then that opens a lot of potential avenues for NoPing to just rush in and overwhelm their opponents, but it's going to be dependent on how much farm the Doom can actually find for himself, as we are back into the match after the little pause there. Panda is not actually going to fight for that rune. Fair enough. He was by himself going into 2, but that does mean it's pretty much an even split. No funny business here with the runes. We really don't see too much of that anymore, but it's all going to be about the lanes here, particularly for the NoPing side. As you mentioned, it feels like their lineup is really just going to sit back, try to find some farm, maybe the Tiny makes some early rotations, but if Angel can have a good start, if you can get that Doom up and running early, then that has to be far more valuable than any potential kills you would get by taking those risks.
Yeah, and I really like what Panda Boo is doing in this bottom lane, starting with the boots already, putting so much pressure on those Boras. I kind of wish he starts top, does what we typically see from Elder Titans, where you try to get that 4-man Astral Spirit to start off the lane, and then Sacred really needs to be quite scared. But Panda Boo is also really good at making these trades. But yeah, top. Oh my goodness.
Oscar just gets run down, honestly. Lumiere with the first point up in the Ghoul Frenzy. It's not a massive amount of slow, but more than Oscar was ready for. A, meanwhile, just hitting away with the glaives, and first blood goes Infamous's way. That is not how I expected that really to go in the first fight. Speaking of fights, though, down bot, Michael trying to roll himself out here, but Panda's able to step in front, and Michael is almost certainly dying here, but he's dodging through the trees, but there's where the boots come in. He's going to be able to close the gap. Angel needs the last hit, and he will be able to get it. So, as you said, he did lose the spirit damage. But
Sacred?
Sacred?
Oh.
Oh, that's timed so well from Panda. Gets the spirit in for the damage so that Angel's mid-air projectile would be the thing that actually got the kill. So that's 2 for your TB, and that's about as strong a start as you could have hoped for. Now Oscar ends up dying again. This time, at least, he's able to kill himself off to a neutral, but this is not fun for the Bloodseeker. That play down bot kind of takes some of the attention away from the fact that he was sort of struggling here, but 2 deaths in the first 2 minutes is not fantastic, and Sladen not really in a position to do much to help up against this Lifestealer, as you were sort of pointing out in the draft.
Yeah, it is always going to be a very difficult lane for him, and that's where A on this Silencer is crushing right now. There is not much that you can do if you're this Bloodseeker. He's just trying to walk up and steal these creep waves, but nice toss from Sladen, keeping the pull going here, but A is trying to pull it back. It's really difficult to get the pull out once it's finally that deep in the creep wave, and Oscar will be able to TP back up here to at least get something going for him, but you keep underestimating A and you're going to get hurt. It's very simple. They just keep on playing too heavily into the Silencer, and A is not skipping a beat.
Just gonna keep on hacking away at Sladen. And honestly, yeah, Sladen's got to be careful, because if A keeps on hitting him, if he gets that curse back up in a few seconds, may very well have had the damage to pursue the kill. So the Tiny's got to back off. He does have a TP, though, so will be able to reposition himself, but this leaves the lane itself as a 1v1, which, honestly, it works out fantastically for Lumiere. It may actually be okay for Oscar as well, just getting the pressure from that Silencer away from him for even 30 seconds to a minute, because he has not been able to farm up so well to this point. 6-2 in this lane.
And I think there is a partial pull there from A. Of course, these supports are so good. You're always able to get those back too. Try to deny the range creep as much as possible. But that's where Lumiere, when you're level 4 on Bloodseeker, it is almost impossible to lose these trades. And as soon as A feels like he can walk over because Sladen has disappeared from his map, there is not much that Oscar can do except for hope that this creep wave continues to push into him. As soon as he gets a little bit further up, it gets very scary. But Sladen smoked towards mid, but was unable to find any play onto the Lina, unfortunately. But toss!
They'll toss Dark Mako in. That's a well-placed LSA, but the Avalanche is still going to be there. But does Dark Mako actually have the damage for this? He is losing the fight right now. They will be able to get it, but I think Dark Mago's dead to the curse. No, it's going to wear off, so he's able to walk away. Sladen will be the one to die. So A, he does get his kill. That's going to get him a little bit of that permanent intelligence stolen away, but you do lose the Lina, and the Doom is able to just kind of sneak off to safety. So, big play there, although A, moving his way over. He's going to see Dark Mago again, but there's really not a whole lot to do here. And with Sladen coming in, do they really want this? There's going to be that toss again. Dark Mago, though, without the Infernal Blade, this gets so difficult, but they are going to try to pursue it. A should be going down to the Ava, but now Dark Mago's got to somehow get out of this. If he looks for the TP now, Alone's got an easy LSA, so your Doom just has to continue walking. He's got a couple of wand charges, but the stun still connects. And Dark Mago will die. He's going to eat the boar before he goes down. Yeah, fair enough. A little bit of efficiency, a little bit of also, you know, screw you, Beastmaster. So he will go down, and Alone's able to get a little bit of revenge there for his prior death.
Yeah, and It really is NoPing and Dark Mega specifically playing around the fact that he got this ghost creep. He got the passive coming from the big ghost, which is so obnoxious to play versus whenever you do see it in the small camp. And oh, Dark Mega alone just hit 6.
Welcome back to the lane. He's going to immediately get hit up. Laguna deployed. It's not enough damage just yet, though. The curse will be sent out, and there it is. A will get the kill with the TOT, and now Sladen. Well, I mean, maybe the toss gets the kill onto Michael, but feels like Sladen's now just going to lose his own life. Panda, however, coming in with the bonus damage from the Spirit, but alone it can just outrun him. He's not really going to have to worry too much about that. So alone hits level 6. They spring the trap. They get a 2-for-1 trade-off. The regen rune, though, should be claimed by Panda. Okay, at least you've got that, so the Lena's not going to be sort of back up to full strength, but Alone's really starting to get a bit of momentum for himself here. 2-1-2 on this Lena. Gets the bottle refilled by Michael. He takes the urn for the extra healing, even a clarity thrown out onto him, so he may not have gotten the regen rune, but he might as well have with him getting topped up. And now look at Michael making the plays, the kick into the LSA. No Laguna this time, so Sladen is not going to drop initially. That's a long toss back as well, but there's no one there to really follow that play up, and Sladen's still on the run. Not going down yet, but Sacred actually has no points in the Axis and doesn't have his roar either, so it's down to Michael to roll in, and, well, you can rely on Michael to make that play. Sladen stunned up, alone finished the kill. Now Dark Mago might want to be careful. He just saw there's about 3 or 4 heroes in the area. He's still hanging out in the river, and A's going to try to hit him up with the last word. It's not enough damage, but that Doom immediately gets pushed over into the side camp.
Yeah. Maybe if you have a little bit more mana on alone, you go for a crazy play like that, but Infamous are doing such a good job of going onto the opponent's side of the map, taking as much farm as they can, and look, the supports, they're trying to set up on a Dark Mago.
Sniped out the courier, but Dark Mago was able to get the boost delivered to him. Now he wants to jump in, looking for the silencer. Dark Mago, well, he still doesn't have a point in the Infernal Blade, but the Doom is there, so that'll get the job done. I was saying maybe A could look for the TP out, but he had the Doom, and he actually did have the War Stomp as well. Didn't quite see that at the start. So Dark Mago gets the kill, but that's Doom for what's still a position 5 support. A very annoying position 5 support, but him being annoying doesn't actually change his net worth here. But at least Dark Mago gets something, and it's going to free up a little bit of space for him, I suppose, as you now see him making his way top. But not really sure what he's going to be able to do here against Lumiere, and with his low HP, he might want to be a little bit careful. He's one rotation away from being in danger himself, and you see Michael, he was sort of lingering. Wasn't sure if he wanted to stick around mid or go top, but once he sees a low health Doom, he's going to try to make the play, rolling Boulder up in just 1 second. And if Lumiere is able to get in here and start applying the right clicks, Dark Mago is absolutely going to go down. There's going to be the roll into those right clicks. They even get the silence down, so there's no return play. And Dark Mago at a certain point just felt like he was kind of asking for that when you cannot go up to that lane with that low health and no backup. But now Oscar's going to push in for the Rupture. They did hit up the Earth Spirit, so he can't really roll away without taking a substantial amount of damage. But the Infest keeping him alive. He's not dead just yet. Lumiere is only able to do so much. Michael will eventually fall, and now Lumiere wants to get the fight going. They're in onto Sladen as A comes in with the last word, but Sladen's going to be able to TP himself away. That means Panda is the new target, as Alone is going to be able to hit him up. The Stomp will not complete in time as Alone gets the kill with the Dragon Slave. And Infamous, actually they got Sladen's Courier there as well, so a little bit extra on the back end of that play. So if they get the Doom, they get Panda, but over on the other side of the map, Dark Mago pushes in alongside Angel, and they will take Sacred down, but now, well, actually, I was going to say now, what do they do about Michael? But Michael rolls for the rune rather than a reinitiation.
Yeah, and that is the big question that Infamous have to ask. They're playing exactly the type of game that they want to play. Unfortunately, A is really in a crazy spot here. See if he can actually navigate himself out. And okay,
good slow coming in from Michael. Yeah, he'll walk out alone. Well, Dark Mago can keep up, but you're chasing into the tier 2 tower, or tier 1 tower, excuse me, but Dark Mago was only a little ways away from actually having the Doom, but, well, unfortunate the way that the timing goes down there. If they have that Doom, maybe they can turn that into a larger fight, but as it stands, everyone's going to back away, but that buys more time for Angel, who has now shifted out of the bottom lane into the west side jungle, so starting to see progress being made. Yasha picked up, working towards that Manta, the first of those sort of big 3 items that we were talking about for him.
Yeah, and that is the question of this game, is NoPing able to win because of Angel yet again, because he has had an amazing bottom lane. He has not skipped a beat. He has pulled so far ahead of the Beastmaster, and that's where you wonder when you look at these carries, the Terrorblade wins. He will always beat the Whitesailor in these engagements. It really becomes more about the supporting cast here, and unfortunately for Sacred, he's going to go down, and no way you complete that TP on alone. So you have to give up the Beastmaster. But that really is the question. Whose supporting cast is actually going to be better when we finally do end up in these mid-game situations? I think Alone's been doing a really good job of playing aggressively on his opponent's side of the map, but that's where bigger factors come into play. Is the Doom going to be that one stop all where you suddenly can't show your face on this Lina until the fight actually gets underway? Same with the Rupture. When will you finally have to show your hand when these team fights actually get started? I feel like NoPing have a lot more of those sneaky plays where Infamous are really cut and dry with how they want to get into a lot of these fights, and that's where a player like Angel can definitely start to pull very far ahead. Almost has his Manta style as well. He is just at a blistering speed.
Yeah, he's closing in on that Manta, got the ulti orb just now. Meanwhile, the Blink's being worked on by Dark Mago. He's only a couple hundred gold away, and taking a look at Oscar, well, his progress maybe is not quite as impressive, but that Atos is going to be stronger if he gets to use it in that secondary role. I think that's where a lot of the previous position 3 Bloodseekers who we've been kind of down on a little bit have gone wrong. They've needed that Atos to be...
Ooh, Angel.
The initiation. Speaking of initiation, jump in onto Angel.
Perfect.
He's going to get silenced up, stunned, Laguna'd, and that is a clean assassination directly on to that TB. And they might get a little bit more. Yeah, Panda pig pulls himself. Move speed should get him away. Dark Mago comes in to sort of cover for his teammate as well, so that is going to force Infamous back. But really, they got what they wanted. The TB kill is absolutely massive. You just slow him down that little bit, and now it is still an incredibly fast pace for the Terrorblade, just not the borderline sort of record-setting one that he was on before.
Yeah, they need to keep on finding, and fortunately for Infamous, they didn't really need to commit very much there. You caught the Terrorblade without his Manta style finished up, without any defensive capabilities, and without any of his teammates set up behind him either. And I think that's where Infamous will immediately go again, still have the global, still have the roar. They can really go on the aggressive very soon here if they want, and I think they absolutely have to. If you allow Angel to figure out a lot of these bigger items, those being the BKB and the Scotty, I'm not exactly certain which order he's going to get it in. Looks like he's going to get the Scotty first, which makes a lot of sense. Even with the BKB, you can definitely lose that right-click war, so Scotty is going to be the item that wins that matchup. We always see the Scotty picked up whenever you end up playing versus those ranged core heroes, and it is crushing for this Lina. If you are getting slowed down by a Scotty Terrorblade, you are more or less just dead in the water.
Yeah, and now starting to see a little bit more of that sort of gap closing ability coming in as well. Sladen finished off the Blink Dagger around the same time that Dark Mako got his, so Blink into the Avatos, Blink into the Doom, both available for them, and they hit up Michael here. No, they don't. He's able to roll himself away, but now Sladen has the angle, but they want the more valuable kill. They go in, well, onto A. I was going to say that's more valuable, but he still got off the global, so they need to get to him a little bit faster, and since they don't, the global silence breaks up everything, and NoPing will pay heavily for it. Both of the supports and Dark Mago get taken down as Infamous collapse in the duration of that global silence.
Oh, and
Oscar, they're just dancing around each other right now, but Oscar, he's going to get caught up too. Michael comes in, there's going to be the slow. LSA comes through for the stun, rolling boulders there as well into the Dragon Slave, and a 4th kill going the way of Infamous for the loss of a silencer, really? That was it.
Yeah, and looking at top, he's got to be so careful here. They know he just TP'd in, and Angel is on the prowl.
It's going to be the slow into the meta, into Dark Mago's Blink forward. And yeah, there's no way out for A. But again, just like last time, I mean, this is kind of okay. This is a distraction being caused. A actually is still somehow not dead. Dark Mago eventually, there we go, we'll bring him down while Angel finished off the tower. But distraction, as over on the other side of the map, Infamous used that distraction to go for a tier 2 tower. So this trade is going to be absolutely beneficial for them, although They need to actually get the trade first. Backdoor protection kicks back in, so they've got to wait for their creep wave, but this is buying time, potentially, for NoPing to come in and make a move. The Blood Right's been thrown down already. Lumiere's going to be able to walk it off, but Spidey senses needed to be tingling right now. Panda is sort of making his way around. Sladen's pushing in as well. And they are going to be able to back out. They get the Infest onto Michael. That does leave Sacred in maybe no man's land a little bit here as Sladen jumps in. There's the blink into the Avatos. Michael, meanwhile, actually rolled into that Avalanche while it was still going, so they don't quite get the Infest Bomb right away, but now they make their move. Oscar gets taken down. Panda will fall. Angel, he TP'd in, but I'm not really sure if he wants to be here. There's no meta. Dark Mago takes the opportunity to jump in mid onto Alone. Blinks in, drops the Doom, so they will at least get that trade-off, but there's still a situation here down bot. Angel has TP'd in, and Infamous kind of know that, so either he backs off or he's in a fight he doesn't want. So they will take that opportunity to push in for the tower. They will get that, and now immediately take the outpost as well.
Yeah, and it's very fortunate that Alone was caught so far away from his teammates. I think if Alone is bottom, then you also have to be terrified. If you're Angel, you still can't fight up versus the Lena, and that's something that Alone can bank on in the entirety of this game. Once you have some of those bigger items, specifically the Daedalus, there is no way for TB to actually fight you, especially if you can have your teammates sitting up close in front of you. The problem is that if Angel does ever get to right-click you, your back is broken. You are completely stuck in the middle of no man's land. You lose 50 attack speed, you lose 50 movement speed, and then you are the immediate target. But that's where Michael has been such a big carry for his team. And again,
roll in. They're looking for Dark Mago. No BKB right now for the Doom, so he's just stuck in this fight. Sladen is going to try for the toss play to save his buddy, but instead, Lumiere is still able to get the damage in. Sladen will now have his TP canceled. That's a very good stomp, though, out from the Elder Titan. That should allow Sladen to try and make an escape, but here comes Lumiere, still chasing his way forward. They don't get the kill yet, and now Oscar, he's going to throw down the ult into the Earth Splitter. It's just not enough damage. Lumiere really doesn't care, walks off the damage, infests into his teammate, and Infamous, very nicely done. They find 2 kills, and Michael, as you said, I mean, he's just been everywhere so far. 11 assists for the Earth Spirit to this point, and that one was big, just taking away the Doom before there was any chance for Dark Mago to really do anything, and now they're kind of tracking onto Panda as well. Michael's getting dangerously close. He guesses a little bit incorrectly, but they're still going to get the angle to cut Panda off, and they will jump out for the quick kill.
Man, so clean from Michael. Such a good job from him, and at least Angel is able to TP out of top. Handaboo was giving, blowing the whistle there on the amount of heroes that actually made the rotation towards the top lane. But
Dark Mago? He's going to get caught again. Still no BKB. He's working towards it, but he's not done with it. And look at that. Sladen blinks into the LSA. That is unfortunate on the timing and the positioning. Alone.
And the pit.
Yep, into the pit. Lumiere's here to help out. Michael even assisting, because why not? Michael's assisted on every other play so far that's gone Infamous's way, so he may as well help on this one too. And this is going to be Roche really for free. There is no response that NoPing are capable of at the moment.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing they can do here. There's a lot of time given to their opponents. There's so much gold on Alone as well, whether or not he decides to buy out for that Daedalus or goes back for the Lincoln Sphere. But there are some very scary items being built up, and unfortunately for NoPing, Angel specifically is spending a lot of his time running around on the map as opposed to getting set up and actually being able to sit and farm. Infamous have just been playing at such a fast rate that it feels like, oh, he's top. Oh, I'm getting run at. I have to TP bottom. Oh, they're here now. Well, I guess I'm going mid. And it's just a rotation that is continuously slowing down the Terrorblade more and more, where even though he's top of the net worth, he is not getting those items nearly as quickly as a free TB game would actually have. And I think fortunately for him, he is finally able to get that Scotty up, but if he doesn't finish up that BKB, the game could end very quickly. It's one of those lineups on the Infamous side where, with this Daedalus now complete on the Alone, he did greed out for it. If you lose a tier 3 tower, you are blown wide open. You immediately lose the racks. There isn't that kind of defensive gameplay. In 19 minutes into the game, Daedalus on Lena.
Dark Mago again. He just can't keep himself safe. Still no BKB. And he's dead. Alone picks him off, and now, I mean, yeah, they're going to focus right in for that objective. Lumiere and Alone will go straight for the tier 2, and if there's no response from NoPing, the Doom is going to be down for a while. They could turn the tier 2 into the tier 3. They've got that Helm of the Overlord for the Ancient Black Dragon to really help them clear out this wave, and they're going to go for it. There has to be a response here from NoPing. They're starting to get heroes into position as you see the Terrorblade TPing back. Oscar's going to get in here as well, but really feel like they're going to need that Blink Doom to really take a fight, but by the time they're in position to do anything, the tier 3's already been taken out. The Rax not looking good either. Slade, no toss back into the Rupture. This is only going to be the first life though, but they get through it pretty quickly. Earth Splitter. If the timing had been a little bit later, maybe they could have caught Lumiere in that, but they're still getting him with the Scotty. He's being slowed up here, but not nearly enough. With the Rage, he can just sort of walk his way out of that. Meanwhile, Alone went in to finish off the Rax. So they effectively use Lumiere as a distraction. It does cost them the Aegis, but Aegis for the entire middle lane.
Yeah, and this is where you have the BKB finally finished up on Dark Mago. I can only imagine that there's going to be a smoke coming out from NoPing. The problem being, look at all of the wards that Infamous have been able to plant. All of these early warning detectors for heroes that are making their ways through those really short tree lines. I really feel like now Infamous can play around their opponent's timings. And this has all been time, by the way, that there has not been a global silence. I don't think there's been a global silence in the game yet because Infamous haven't needed it. They have always been the aggressors in these fights. It's always been started by Michael. And I think that toss play or toss back play could have been even more effective if they were able to time it up with the Rage just a little bit better. And they're not even giving them a chance to smoke on the NoPing side. Infamous are already running at their opponents, and Oscar.
All the way to the high ground, they've got Oscar. They take out half of his HP in a single go. Oscar is going to drop down the Rupture, though, and Michael takes a lot of damage, but the Laguna will be there to actually finish Oscar off. Lumiere gets the kill, and now Dark Mago with that BKB finally finishes trying to fight, but the Roar goes through it. He'll lose that magic immunity now, and he's dead. Dark Mago goes down. Michael will give his life, but he's more than okay with the 2-for-1 trade. 2 cores for a single support, and now NoPing kind of right back where they started, in their base, down a couple of heroes. This time, though, no one has their buyback up, and Infamous, I think they're going to figure that out pretty quickly here as they push for the tier 3 bot.
And more importantly, no glyph, no meta for 35. They know exactly what they can accomplish here. And still, no Doom has been used, no Global has been used. You're not getting any ultimates out from Infamous. They're holding everything constantly, and unfortunately for NoPing, Angel's not big enough. He hasn't had enough time. You've given them way too many kills on the Infamous side, and they're giving them so much respect here. They're afraid of the Doom, and they're afraid of the fact they don't have Rage. Okay.
Sladen goes for the toss back. There's the Global, gonna be deployed. He will die, but Sladen goes down as well, and with the Global still in effect, I don't know if they can chase, but they get the Doom, but that doesn't do much to slow the Lina, and this was the thing I mentioned at the start of the match. You have to hit this Doom before the Fiery Soul starts to stack up, because it doesn't remove those stacks, and Alone is fast enough to get away. That's a bottled regen. That's destiny right there. Alone was not meant to die. The second the Doom wears off, he can just pop the regen, and he's back up to full HP and mana.
Yeah, and this is now the nightmare situation where Angel, he needs to decide, does he want a BKB, does he want a Daedalus? He needs an item like that to actually fight versus anyone at this stage, and I don't know if he's going to have enough time to complete it all the way through. Of course, Terrorblade is one of the worst heroes to play with buyback, just because you only got one meta, you only got one life, but that's also where NoPing, they smoke under a ward. They're going to start pinging it out on the Infamous side. Of course, they don't have Global, so if they can get onto this backline, it will be successful, but they have to get these targets instantly. Otherwise, this fight looks so ugly for them, and Infamous are going to get the racks while you make this play.
Yep. And they got to know the enemy's coming from behind them now, but I think they're ready for it, or maybe they're not. That's a nice War Stomp in onto the 2 supports. They take down A, and oh my god, Alone. Yeah, what? I don't think he realized his supports were going to die that fast. By the time he's in there, there's no one to back him up, and he will die. That projectile does eventually track down Michael as well, so Angel grabs the double. They're able to get 3 kills in total. They'll try to finish off the Helm of the Overlord creep here too, but here's the thing. They already lost the entire bottom lane of Rax. Lumiere was able to sort of finish that one off before that fight went down, so it's unfortunate that Infamous gets sort of caught in that pincer maneuver that they probably should have seen coming thanks to that ward, but at least they claim the objective before that fight comes to an end.
Yeah, now they really need to reassess themselves, though, because this is a huge amount of time that Angel now gets to actually finish off a lot of those big items. I don't think that NoPing are necessarily going to fight around that next pit, but Angel's got some tough decisions to make, but sitting on 4.4k gold, he's going to be extremely pleased. Also, gotta tip Angel just a little bit there. He did dodge the LSA with his Manta style. It's the small plays, but sick plays like that, always got to be mindful of Angel when you get into these fights. And it looks like he will choose the Satanic as his item of choice, but will Infamous lose off of one fight just like that? I don't think so, but this game definitely becomes a little bit scarier here because it is really just one or two more items, and then suddenly you won't have a lifestealer. You're going to have Lumiere struggling to stand in these fights, and I think that's where maybe the greed from Alone is going to be felt a little bit. He doesn't have a BKB, he doesn't have a Satanic, he's gone for Daedalus Lincoln Sphere. He is very prone to magic damage right now, and especially prone to the right clicks of that Terrorblade still. He really hasn't itemized to allow himself to be that secondary Vanguard right next to Lumiere. So if they allow the play to happen, if NoPing can get on him yet again with Sladen, that would be the exact thing they need to keep this game in their boat. Because right now, I definitely think Infamous are still the ones in the driver's seat. They can definitely win very quickly. All they need is one fight, and then NoPing lose. But that's where I also feel like the latter might be true. One more fight, and then NoPing get another item on Angel, and most likely an Aegis. Then the game looks incredibly difficult for Infamous.
Yeah, this next fight is going to be unbelievably important in terms of determining what the rest of the game, however long that goes, will look like. And I don't know, if you're the Lina here, in theory, this Lincoln Sphere looks so good, right? You can block the Sunder, the Doom, the Rupture, all sorts of stuff. That sort of single target spell that you can get out of the way, but when Alone has been taken down, hasn't happened too often with just the 3 deaths, but when he does fall, it's not because a singular ability is hitting him, it's because he's getting just absolutely ambushed by multiple enemy heroes at once. As right on cue, there's the jump in from Sladen, toss back comes through, global silence out, it doesn't matter, Alone's already dead. And yeah, you see that Lincoln's doesn't exactly protect against multiple forms of lockdown, so big kill for them. Lina, having bought out that item, now doesn't have buyback, so NoPing, they're going to try to maintain control of the area. It's still 2 minutes for Roshan, though, so it's not like they can immediately push for it, but this is where they start to establish a little bit more of that vision game, as Dark Mago's going to jump in, looking for Michael, stuns him up, Infernal Blade doesn't come through, but now Angel has TP'd in, and Michael is rolling away, but Sladen wants in, there's going to be the Avalanche, but he can't get the toss as he's actually silenced up, so Michael is making a break for it. And I do believe he's going to be able to make it out. That's just, that shouldn't happen, but Michael's just too damn good.
Michael's so good at Earth Spirit. There's a reason why people don't really let him get his hero, but that's also why I believe Infamous decided to take first pick here, because you were going to either get the Gyrocopter or you're going to get this Earth Spirit, and man, does he decide to put on a show. But that's where NoPing have also done a really good job of identifying the one weakness in Infamous's lineup, and if they can continue to press forward into it, it is a liability now. Alone needs to almost be babysat here, and that's where Infamous, who don't really have a save-oriented lineup, are going to struggle versus their opponents just a little bit here. And of course, they've got the net worth lead, they've got the XP lead. The problem is that they're losing a lot of the map now versus Angel, who sends one conjure image to a lane, pushes it in, and they're looking for this fight near Roche.
Michael, I don't know about this one. He's been so solid for them, but this feels risky. They're still trying to take the fight, though. Alone's coming in. Michael gonna try to roll himself away, but that will get him killed, as Oscar did have the Rupture on him. Meanwhile, Dark Mago, surviving the Laguna, gets the kill onto A, and now we see some buybacks coming out with Roshan so close to respawning. They can't afford to sort of give this one up. Alone, meanwhile, continuing to chase, trying to get onto the Doom, will be able to do so. And somebody's got to come over here to handle this. Sladen is trying to run away, but he's not going to be able to get out. Where's the rest of NoPing? Well, they've got their hands full. They're dealing with Lumiere, as he is going to be able to get in. Now the roll from Michael, just bought back in, able to get onto Angel. But the buybacks from NoPing are coming in as well. Everybody's getting back around the pit, but Angel needs help right now. His teammates have to get a little bit closer. And it looks like Sladen's the first one in. Can Alone get the TP?
Oh.
Wow, that's about as close as it gets. If Sladen's a half second earlier, they find that kill, and that would have been an absolute disaster. As it stands, though, it's still not good for Infamous. Alone gets away, but they gave up control of the pit. And now what do they have? There's no Laguna. They don't have the Roar. Actually, Laguna's back up in 5 seconds, so maybe they can make it happen. Alone, well, he wants to push in, but look at that damage he's taking. It's just too much physically. He's going to be taken down. Lumiere is going to try now to fight his way through this. The Global is helping. But Angel, the whole time, he's been holding the Sunder, so even if they do drop him low, he's going to be able to get off that swap. And Okay, they're just going to fight for Roshan. Who can get it? Roshan goes down. Lumiere is able to get the Aegis. He gets it, and now Angel, he's stunned. He doesn't get the Sunder, and that is the worst possible way that fight could have gone down for NoPing, and it's just the absolute nightmare scenario. They don't control the pit. They don't take Roshan. They don't get the Aegis, and they don't get a Sunder. It's just terrible.
Yep, and now there's no meta, no gold for the Aghanim Scepter, and as good of a fight as NoPing were giving, I feel like this is at least going to be the Megas here. It's a really difficult hold now.
The only thing is, since Angel didn't get the Sunder in the last life, he does have it here, and that's something Infamous will have to be a little bit careful of. As Archmago blinks in, he's holding on to a Doom, but you don't want to use it on Lumiere with 2 lives. You would rather try to get through the Aegis right now, and they are getting close, but the Force Staff going to get Lumiere away.
Oh.
How far does he go? He's looking for Dark Mago, but the Infest is going to be there as the bailout, so doesn't want to go too deep. He'll heal up momentarily and then get right back in onto the racks. They're still looking for those Megas, but respawns are starting to come in from NoPing. Slayton's back up and running. Oscar's only 10 seconds away, so this may not be Infamous's moment to really go all in for that, even with the Aegis. So they will back themselves out, but they do so now with a 12k lead, largest, I believe, of the game so far. And that really did feel like NoPing, they were playing it well for 95% of that engagement, and then it all just falls apart right when they needed to maintain their cohesion the most.
Yeah, and that's where items like the BKB or Force Staffs, where you don't have that luxury anymore coming from your supports, and if your supports get taken down, it gets incredibly messy. And of course, you did buyback on 4 heroes there, so now NoPing are out of options when it comes to taking those incredibly long engagements, but no more errors. They still have to break your high ground, something that Angel without meta was still very good at defending. Now that is going to be the name of the game, and with Angel able to work himself towards this Daedalus, we are definitely not out of the woods if we're Infamous. We had to reset out of top, even though they were still dieback 2 heroes, didn't have Global, didn't have Roar, didn't have anything available to us from our supporting cast, and that's where the name of the game still is. Is our supporting cast better than NoPing's? Can we play around the fact that our carries are going to kill each other, but that's where NoPing have still done a beautiful job
Dark
of
Mago
setting
just got
Angel up
caught.
for success. Yeah. Well, 65.
Had the BKB, but did not pop it. Thought it was really just alone. Didn't see Michael up on the ramp until it was too late and the roll-in was complete. So, yeah, he is down for quite a while. Doesn't have money for his buyback. And now Infamous, you're still holding on to that Aegis for a couple of minutes. Maybe with the Doom dead, this could be their opening. However, as we said, the Doom doesn't have buyback because of gold, not because of his timer. So Infamous may not know that his is unavailable. Everyone else they should know about based on the last fight, but showing some respect to the Doom that they don't need to right now.
Yeah, I think more so than that, it is still just Angel being way too strong, and here we go. Gonna get the tier 3 tower here. There's no glyph, so they have to make a choice here when it comes to this defense.
If they let it go, dealing with Megas is going to be tough, but if they fight it out, they've got to do so without the Doom. Angel able to dodge the LSA again, but he can't dodge the Roar. Oscar, though, is coming in. Bloodright's going to go down onto multiple heroes, but they're still getting onto Angel. They're taking him down. He's dead. There is no buyback, and there may not be a fight anymore. Slayton will fall. Panda dead as well, and Oscar's even going to get taken down on the steps. That's it. Yeah, all of it blows up on that one death. Without Angel, there's no defense.
Yeah, and he held his Mantis style for as long as he could there. He ended up getting silenced by that global at the end of the day, and unfortunately he got stunned facing the wrong direction, so it's not like there's any support coming out from the Force Staff on the Tiny, so doesn't get the Sunder off. Already had to use the Satanic because Lumiere was pressing way too hard into his face. And unfortunately, Lumiere, who was 12-0-10, did way too much damage. Once he had that MKB, it was actually way too difficult for the Terrorblade to stand up and hit 1v1 versus that Lifestealer, in addition to the fact that you were getting open wounds. You were fighting a battle where the Lifestealer has basically a Satanic on you, unless you want to purge it off with that Manta style, something that he couldn't do until at least one silence was committed on him. It's unfortunate we don't see NoPing with one final hurrah as their full 5-man. They do get picked off one by one, and then Dark Mago ends up respawning in the fountain with GG already called, but still, it was a nice try for them. I think more so to that, it was Infamous absolutely working their opponents here. First 20 minutes of the game, up until Angel actually got 1 or 2 kills there after he finished up that Scotty. It looked like Infamous were completely bulletproof. They were playing so well up until that point, and then exactly playing perfectly around that Roche pit. And honestly, this game looks so much more different if Angel is somehow able to get that Aegis and Lumiere dies in the pit right there. But instead, Infamous are able to pull it out off of some really fantastic individual performances.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the stat lines right now, Alone 18-5, Lumiere 12-0 on the Lifestealer. They are absolutely massive. That is true, and their heroics in the pit really sort of help drive home that shift in momentum, but you want to just take a look at the rest of that lineup as well. Sacred 20 assists, A21, Michael 17 and 22. That's not going to steal headlines by any means, but without those heroes and the Earth Spirit in particular being aggressive and making those plays, Alone and Lumiere don't get that space, they don't find those kills, and the snowball just doesn't really have that same level of efficiency. So Infamous, we talked about sort of what they would need from this lineup, and they got just about everything, including a misplay or two from the NoPing side to really just swing any sense of momentum.
But yeah, and I really do feel like Dark Mago was making himself a target purposefully in this game, but it's a target that Infamous repeatedly hit over and over and over again, as well as Sladen playing a little bit too close to his teammates sometimes. It feels like those two, and you see they have even deaths at the end of the game here, but they were really struggling in that early game. It felt like they were really playing attached at the hip and then dying together in a lot of those circumstances where Sladen could be more focused on finishing his blink. Dark Bango could maybe rely on his teammates a little bit more when it comes to defending towers and focuses on his game a little bit more. It definitely felt like those two were really struggling to find an opening in any play. And I think that all comes from the top lane specifically, where Sladen had to leave Oscar in that situation. You have to give the free lane over to Lumiere because of how bad that early game went. And then dying mid with Dark Mago is just a cherry on top for Infamous to really snowball this game in their favor.
Yeah, just taking advantage of so many opportunities and then surviving the eventual power spike from the TB. So Infamous showing their strength here. In game 2, they salvage that 1-1 draw as we mentioned, so they end the day with points on the board. NoPing, meanwhile, splitting both of their series. So 2 wins, 2 losses will still help them move up, but not quite as definitive as they were hoping to put together. But that is going to do it for our final series of the day. So we are going to be, we are going to be sort of shutting things down here. And as a matter of fact, that is the final series, at least from ET and I, for the group stage. It is going to be our Cryptic and Neff who will take you through the rest of this group stage run. So we are going to be saying goodbye for now. We'll be back for the playoffs. So, you won't have to miss us for too long. We will be back once that playoff bracket gets around, but we're going to be passing off the mic for the next couple of days. With that in mind, ET, last time we're going to be seeing the folks for a little while here.
Yeah, and if there's anything to say, just make sure to keep tuning in in this tournament, especially because we've still got fantastic South American teams like NoPing and Infamous. We're going to see a lot more of them in the next few days, so definitely watch out. This is some of the best Dota to watch right now, so definitely keep tuning in.
Yeah, by the time ET and I are back on the cast, things could look wildly different. So do stick around. Obviously not tonight. We're done. Go away. Go do something else. But we have more group stage action tomorrow. Same start time as all the other days, 1 p.m. Pacific time. It will be our Cryptic and Neff to handle things for you on the casting side. So for ET and myself, thank you all so much for watching. We will see you all in the future. But for now, thank you very much and good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.